All right, we are live and welcome to Iridology. Welcome to the Metaphysics of Thyroid disease. Okay, many of you have been anticipating this video all week, and I am happy to serve. I am happy to show you how to effectively heal your thyroid, what it's all connected to, because it's not just the thyroid, it's many other organs that we need to focus on, okay, and many other areas and minerals that we need to sustain ourselves. So the metaphysics of the thyroid, what does that mean? It's not just focusing on the physical part of the organ. It's focusing on your spiritual health, your emotional health, your mental health. All plays a role in thyroid disease. Okay, all of that, okay, including the foods that you eat, will determine the state of your thyroid. If you're constantly stressed, if you're constantly worrying about tomorrow, worrying about financial responsibilities and family and different things like that, all of this has an effect on your metabolism, which destroys the thyroid, which decreases the hormones being secreted into your bloodstream, which decreases your iodine levels, decreases your calcium levels. So this is very, very vital into understanding the metaphysics of thyroid disease, so that you can be more aware of your emotional state, be more aware of your surroundings, be more aware of the foods that you're eating, because you are a divine being. We are supposed to be eating divine foods that feed this divine body. And those foods are automatically filled with amino acids. It's filled with all the minerals that you need. But what happens is we have adapted to this acidic, degenerative lifestyle where all of the foods that you're eating is depleted in depleted in the minerals, depleted in the amino acids. So now the body, the organs, especially the thyroid, begins to break down, because now you have the thyroid in battle with the parathyroid to constantly keep the balance of the calcium in the body. And you need calcium for the blood, you need calcium for the kidneys, you need calcium for the bones. And as this decreases, well, so does your quality of life. And this is why as we get older, we start walking in this fashion. We start having issues with our joints. So all of this is connected to the thyroid. Okay, all of this is connected to the thyroid. Okay, so we're gonna go right into it. All right, as far as the metaphysics of the thyroid. All right, y'all. So I'm gonna bring this closer. Okay. All right, y'all. Don't laugh at my drawing. All right, don't laugh at my drawing. Okay, we have here. All right. So as you can see, I have my markers here. Of course, I did, some artwork when it comes to this presentation here, because I wanted you to get an idea of, just a simple idea of the thyroid. Okay, the metaphysics of the thyroid. This is the just the understanding the hormones and what's being secreted by the thyroid, and how important it is to eat certain foods. We're also going to go over the symptoms of thyroid disease. There are over 20 different symptoms of thyroid disease, and we are not tapped in. We are not understanding the body, how it gives us these divine, I call them divine signals, so that we can be alerted that something is wrong. And if we're not attaching these divine signals to thyroid, and whether it's the kidneys or whatever part of the body, well, the body again will continue to break down. And then this is why we find ourselves in a chronic condition. And no chronic condition can manifest because you already have the symptoms well in advance. Okay, and this is also where iridology comes in. All right, as the iris will show thyroid weaknesses even as early as even if it's not a stage yet. I can tell if you have what's it called, an inherent weakness. And what that means is understanding that whether your parents, your father, your mother, whatever side, paternal or maternal, had a thyroid weakness, will show up in your iris. And I could tell you, well, hey, listen, you may need more iodine. You may need more kelp, more bladderwrack, more dulse, more nori, all of these different seaweeds and omegas to keep your thyroid functioning, even though you may not have thyroid disease. Very important, because we're constantly holistic with a W, okay? And natural medicine is preventative in nature. We do not wait for disease to arrive, okay? It's like a fight. It's like in martial arts. You don't wait for your opponent to strike first. You want to make the first move. So that's what we do in our health. We are not reactive people. We are active people. And that's what we have to start adapting to again, to become more actionary instead of reactionary, okay? So, here, as you see my beautiful presentation here, the metaphysics of thyroid disease. And I'm going to put this back a little bit. Okay. I don't know if you guys can see it here. We'll just put a little close up here so that you can understand it, or you can see it. Okay. Metaphysics of thyroid disease. Okay. As you can see here, the thyroid is a butterfly-shaped organ. Okay, it's a butterfly-shaped organ that's responsible for so many different areas and hormones of the body. It includes calcium. It includes what we all know as T3 and T4 cells, okay, or T3 and T4 hormones, okay. And as you see here, these red lines are the hormones being secreted directly into the bloodstream, okay? This is, your thyroid is connected or is a part of your endocrine gland, endocrine system, which is ductless. And when it's ductless, it secretes directly into the bloodstream, okay? Remember, your blood has to flow from the crown of your head to the sole of your feet. It is the crystalline river of the body. It has to be clean at all times. It has to have the necessary hormones, balanced hormones, so that the body is working in unison, so that the body is always working divinely with each other, okay? Because this is also connected to the kidneys. So anything that disrupts the hormonal flow, okay, disrupts other areas of the body, including your reproductive system. Okay, including your reproductive system. So we're going to talk about that too, ladies, as this is connected to your reproductive health. Okay, so here you have all of these hormones connected to or shooting off or secreting into the bloodstream. Again, I call the endocrine system the pharmaceutical company of the body. Okay, because it's secreting these sacred hormones into the bloodstream constantly to keep you in balance. That's what it's about. That's what hormones is. It's it's information that is distributed throughout the body to keep you in balance. Okay, it's a form of communication. Okay, so here you have T3, okay, or triiodothyronine. Trio means 3. Okay, then you have tetraiodothyronine. Okay, I'm gonna slow down. Okay, because sometimes I do not pronounce these words when I'm moving too fast. Okay, so tetraiodothyronine, or what they call thyroxine. Okay, and that's your T4. Okay, both are responsible for or need iodine. Okay, both need iodine. Okay, and then you have here these little dots that you see here. These are called the parathyroid glands. You have 4 of them. And more so, the parathyroid glands is more so a helper to your thyroid gland. So what the thyroid gland is limited in or decreased in, then the parathyroid gland comes in to increase the hormones. More so specifically, we're talking about calcitonin or calcium. Okay, so here, all right, now before we go into the whole anatomy of it all, okay, just understanding again how the thyroid operates, how nothing or you were not created to be depleted or deficient. Okay, if you see here that one of the hormones on this side, if you can see it here, secretes a hormone called calcitonin, okay, which all of this here is regulating the levels of calcium in your blood. Okay, the thyroid decreases the calcium, and the parathyroid hormone increases the calcium. Once what happens is, if you're not eating foods that contain all your minerals, all the balance that you need is sustained through your food. Okay, all your oranges, your fresh green leafy vegetables, your omegas, all of these different food sources contain all that you need to create balance of calcium and the T3, T4 cells, T3, T4 hormones, in the blood. But what happens as you eat degenerated acidic foods, the body has to work harder. So now it'll start to alert the kidneys to, if it's too much or if it's in an increase, it'll alert the kidneys to reabsorb it of the calcium via the urine. Okay, and again, if you have abnormal calcium levels, or if you're known to be calcium deficient, all of this again is linked to, as you get older, to joint issues, mobility issues, muscle issues. Again, this is not just looking at the thyroid, this is looking at your entire body, what it's all linked to. Okay, so over time, as you decrease the state of your foods, the structure of your foods, then in turn, you'll start to develop all of these different ailments when it comes to joints, arthritic conditions. This is also connected to the formation of kidney stones. When we look at someone who have kidney issues or any kind of cyst on the kidneys, or stones in the kidneys, this nine times out of 10, I'm going in that iris and I'm looking at the thyroid, because that was the first disease. Okay, remember family, the iris will show what disease happens first. And it just so happens that the thyroid is at in the beginning of the iris. Okay, it is the iris is shaped as a clock, so it is in the beginning of the iris. Okay, so this is what that's all linked to when it comes to your kidneys, when it comes to your muscles, when it comes to your joints. Okay, and if you're having challenges gaining weight, that more so is linked to hyperthyroidism, where the body, where you have an overactive thyroid. It's constantly getting rid of the hormones of the blood. And then you have hypo or underactive thyroid, where it's too much. Okay, it's too much. So now you're gaining weight, and there's so many different symptoms or effects that the body gives to show you issues with thyroid disease. Okay, so if you're having challenges gaining weight, okay, if you're having challenges keeping on weight, this is more than likely linked to the thyroid. So once we get the thyroid working and balanced again, you'll find that your weight, you'll be at a natural weight that your body and your height, it will be sustained or balanced in. Okay, it's also what I've seen with the thyroid. I can see it even as early as a child who's 2 years old. Okay, the neck will automatically show thyroid issues. Okay, also when you start to crave certain foods, okay, even children will let you know. And what's so interesting is there was a few parents that told me that their children were craving seaweed. And I said, and I looked at them and I like, wow, that's really good, because that's the iodine. Children will tell you what the body needs. If you notice that your children are craving certain foods, especially if it's natural, that is what they need. So pay attention to your children's thyroid, especially when they start craving seaweed. All right, very, very important. Okay, and this again goes into the metaphysics of how the body will alert you of what you need. And children are very close to the universe, so they'll let you know by way of showing you what they need via their food. Okay. So as we go into the spiritual meaning of the thyroid, okay? And before we go into that, all right, well, wow, we're already 15 minutes in. Okay. So before we go into that, I want to read off this list. Now, because, again, when it comes to thyroid issues, okay, when it comes to thyroid weakness, there's so many symptoms or effects that the body gives that we are not understanding or understanding. So it is important for us to take note of different symptoms and effects that the body gives when it comes to thyroid issues. Okay, so here there's there it used to just be with the when it comes to symptoms as far as your nails that is showed brittle. Also, if you have those white markings on your fingers, that's a calcium deficiency. That also is linked to showing you that something is going on with the thyroid. Weight gain, which is linked to hypo, and weight hard to gain weight, which is hyper. These are just common symptoms, but the list is more extensive than that. And I'm going to read this off to you so that you can understand that more so on a metaphysical, spiritual level. Okay. So number 1, nervousness, constantly worrying. Okay. Hoarseness of throat, constipation, impaired memory, cold skin, sensation of cold, edema, swelling of your eyelids, okay? Lethargy, constantly tired, constantly energy depleted. That is definitely linked to a thyroid deficiency. Dry skin, coarse skin, thickness of the skin in general, okay? If you find that your skin is very thick. Poor vision, your vision will begin to deteriorate as well. Excessive menstruation, and ladies, this is what I was discussing before, that each person or each woman that has reproductive issues is always linked to the endocrine system, specifically the thyroid and the adrenal glands. Okay, so you have to pay attention if you want to begin to heal yourself of uterine issues and ovarian cysts, PCOS, endometriosis. Look to your thyroid, look to your adrenal glands. Okay, brittle nails, depression. I'm gonna say that again: depression, anxiety. All of this is linked to thyroid weakness. Again, your body is finely tuned. If it's missing something, you'll feel it. You'll feel it in your emotions. You'll feel it in your spirit. Your spirit will change. And these are all the effects of deficiencies in the body. Muscle weakness. We talked about that with the calcium. Muscle pain, joint pain, burning or tingling sensation, heat intolerance. Okay, constantly hot. Slowing of mental activity, slow movements, bluish skin discoloration, fineness of hair. Your hair won't be as thick. It'll be very thin. Okay. Loss of weight. Okay, that's hyper. Emotional instability. Palpitations. Heart palpitations is also linked to that. Thick tongue. Gaining weight, which we talked about that with hypo. Okay, so all of these here, and the list goes on. Again, this is more of an extensive list, more than just the average of what we know on via Google or the internet. This is just to understand the symptoms of thyroid weakness. So again, if you're finding that you're having challenges with gaining weight, if you're finding that you're having challenges with losing weight, going back into the metaphysics, the spiritual aspect of the thyroid when it comes to issues with worrying, nervousness, depression, anxiety, all of this is showing you that the body is missing something, that there's a deficiency there. Okay, again, you're finely tuned. Anything that's out of place, any circuit that is not electrified will show signs of lethargy or energy deficiencies. Okay, this is how divine your body is. Okay, also the thyroid If anyone is familiar with chakras, you have 7 chakras, or 7 consciousness zones, that I like to call it, of the body. The thyroid is directly connected to your throat chakra. All right. So issues with the throat chakra, you'll have issues with your thyroid as well, and vice versa. So the throat chakra is connected to communication. One who's open, who's speaking their truth, who's speaking the truth no matter what, to themselves, to others. Okay, so if you're constantly closing this throat chakra, you're not speaking, you're not communicating, you're not expressing yourself, this leads to thyroid weakness. Okay, very important to understand. All right, so if you know you're an outspoken person, because there are many people that I knew, I looked at them, they were quiet. I'm like, you're not quiet. You are not a quiet person. And again, this is very dangerous for us to hide, to have the inability to express ourselves, because this, again, on a metaphysical level, can lead to thyroid weakness. All right, so that is very important to understand. Okay, also, when it comes to the thyroid, it's responsible for, it plays a vital role in metabolism. So when the thyroid is not functioning at its highest level, it's going to slow down the healing of the entire body. That's why it's so very, very important to heal the thyroid. The thyroid is the key to your lymphatic, your kidneys, your adrenals, and your reproductive. Okay, once you get the thyroid in order, once you get the thyroid balanced back into the hyperactive, and then balance completely, then we can start to facilitate healing in these other organs and systems. Okay, because again, the thyroid is connected to metabolism, and if that is not functioning correctly, the inner healing of the entire organism, the entire body, will be slow. Okay, so solutions. Okay, this is going to be long term. Don't expect this to happen overnight with healing your thyroid. Okay, this is a long term process. And what's beautiful about iridology is that when you come for your first iridology consultation, within 6 months, I can actually see if healing has been facilitated, if healing is actually taking place. The iris will start to show white lines to see if you're actually if you're consistent, and the treatment, the course of action is working. Okay, so again, this is long term. What I am going to suggest, you have to cut out the meats, the dairy. That's number 1. Meats, dairy, all of these are acidic foods. Meats and dairy, all of these are degenerated foods. It does not belong in your body. Okay, this is not the food that we are designed, that your body is designed to absorb. It does not recognize, the body does not recognize these food as nourishment. And the moment it's entered into the body, it becomes acid. And once it turns into acid, it begins to disrupt the balance, the divine balance of your hormones, which again, we're talking about the thyroid. Okay, so you want to get off the meat. You want to get off the dairy. Okay, you want to increase fruits, specifically your citrus, your oranges, your tangerines. Okay, specifically oranges, which is it has a lot of calcium in it. I believe it has over 50 or 60 milligrams of calcium in just one orange. So this is how you're gonna increase your thyroid function over time. So a lot of oranges, you can juice them, eat them, whatever you do. This is how you're getting your more minerals, vitamins into the body via food. Your food is your medicine. Remember that. Okay. Green leafy vegetables. Okay. Your kale, all your cruciferous vegetables, your spinach. Okay. All of that. You want to juice them. You want to eat them. You want to steam them. Don't steam them too much, because then you take away the natural and you rip away the original molecular structure of that vegetable, and then it becomes dead. Okay, so you don't want to overcook your vegetables. You want to eat as raw as possible. If you're going to cook, steam it a little bit or saute it where it's still crispy. Okay, other minerals such as kelp, parsley, Bladderwrack, dose. Bladderwrack is amazing. It's very high in iodine. That's going to get your thyroid moving. Very high in iodine. Okay, so that's bladderwrack. That's all your seaweeds, your dulse, your nori. Okay, so the world is abundant in everything that you need. Everything. Your medicine is right there. It's right there. And stock up on these things. Stock up on these things, because we don't know what it's going to be like in the next few months when it comes to how much abundant food we are going to be able to have access to. You can also grow your own herbs in the house. Grow your parsley. Grow these fruits that you need. There's something we have called the Tower Garden, which you'll see it in the description, so that you have access to growing your own foods to heal yourself. Vitamin D. Vitamin D. Why is vitamin D so important? Vitamin D, okay, is needed for the thyroid, especially vitamin D3. Okay, you want to make sure you get vitamin D3, which is the closest to the sun. Okay, not saying to just take vitamin D and skip the sun, because more so people who have thyroid issues are always in the house. They're not typically outside. And again, they have issues with what? They have heat intolerance. They can't tolerate the heat. So if you cannot tolerate the sun, that shows how toxic your body is. So once you begin to heal the thyroid, you'll find that you won't have such intolerance for the sun, intolerance for the heat. Okay, so you want to get out in that sun. You want to get out in that sun when it is at its peak. I know it's winter time. There's sometimes it's sun out, but you want to get out into that sun, okay, to get your original vitamin D. Vitamin D3, okay, in a form sourced from lichen. I'm going to put a few few sources in the chat where you can get vitamin D3 from, okay? But vitamin D3 is very important. When you're deficient in vitamin D3, this causes abnormal calcium levels. And again, this affects hormone secretion, or your calcium level in the body, which is linked to all different kind of diseases. Okay, so again, family, the metaphysics of the thyroid, okay, encompasses the spiritual, your mental, your emotional health. It encompasses your eating, your diet. What does your diet look like every day? Are you feeding your thyroid every day? Which leads into feeding your lymphatic system, feeding your reproductive, feeding your adrenals. Okay, all of this is connected. All right. So again, usually women, those who have painful menstruations, look to your thyroid. All right. I really trust that this video was helpful. Again, if you want to learn more about your health and be on the preventative side, be an action person rather than reaction person, schedule your Iridology Consultation with me today to learn more about your health and a more personalized blueprint guide to detoxing your organs long term. Thank you guys for tuning in. Peace and power.